The mind is the last gatekeeper of eternity. There may be outer external forces that try to keep the divine soul in a place of slumber. But before we can focus or address those external forces, we have to understand the mind has been programmed to be an enemy within. It has been programmed through trauma to basically hijack the nervous system and the brain function to keep us in the lower chakras, animalistic, reptilian state, and the left brain. That's why all the buildings went from, beautiful architecture like the Victorian era, where everything had detail, everything was curved and rounded, which is a representation of creativity in the right brain. Then we moved into architecture like brutalism, which is all square, plain, repetitive, robotically the same. Everything has no soul in the architecture that is modern. And even in the furniture and everything that's created, compared to what used to be, everything had detail, everything had a artistic approach to design. Now it's just purely for function with no aesthetic, which keeps you from a visual perspective in the left side of the brain, because the left side is just patterns, something that the right brain doesn't operate in. The right brain is a free thinking mechanism that isn't bound in repetition and repetitive thinking. So a lot of times we try to address these forces that are external, but the internal force that has been programmed against us is the most important thing to address. And that's why Christ speaks of renewing the mind. Ramana Maharshi said the mind is a demon. So before we start projecting and trying to witch hunt on an external level, we should look within. And we have to surrender the ego. We have to surrender that sinful nature. And underneath it is pure love, pure peace, pure kindness, pure awareness. So if we can tap in and we can bring the beast of the ego into submission to the spirit, which reverses the pentagram, the inverted pentagram, because the inverted pentagram represents matter over spirit. So people will say that is just what Satanists represent. But ultimately, this whole world, the way it's run and functions, is matter over spirit, which by nature would be considered of what people label as satanic, demonic. Even the churches, everything that we go to try to gain wisdom still keeps us in an ego-based mentality, projecting self-righteousness, trying to be approved by others and be validated, which is really just another trick door to go through, not leading you to truth. God is love, God is pure, and He is in us, and we are part of Him. So once we start to break down the separation between the soul of the individual and the divine all, we return to unification, and we start to tap into all these triggers that have been put up through years of dealing with this world of duality. We have to release the triggers. We have to give them to the Spirit of truth, to the Holy Spirit, to be alchemized, to be transformed into higher principles. For the weights that hold us here can be transformed into wings that rise us to the heavens.